Stop scrolling, stop moving. Give me 10 minutes of your time because Manchester United have made a decision. And that decision, to be honest with you, will change the future if it is executed. It will change the future now. Whether it's for the better, you are going to decide down in the comments when I finish explaining everything for you because I have my opinion about this situation. But I want to hear from you guys what you think about this one. Because Manchester United's decision is going to be about the midfield. It's going to be Sandro Tonali or Bruno Guimarães. And those two situations are absolutely crucial for Manchester United moving next in this transfer window and this rebuild for 2028 that we are trying to achieve. So one thing is for sure, we are looking at two players that give both control and chaos. Now, a lot of people get the negative connotation about chaos being a negative thing. When it comes to channeled chaos, it could absolutely be the bane or the backbone of a successful team. Think about Roy Keane, chaos. But he channeled it so much that he pushed every single person forward in Manchester United, making him one of the best captains that we have ever had. You think about it, that is what Roy Keane is known for. Playing on the edge so much that a lot of times he stepped over the line, giving him a red card. Erling Haaland's dad can absolutely attest to things like that. So today let's break down what they are talking about, what the move is, and why Manchester United are leaning one side rather than the other. Let's start from the beginning. Now, reports are suggesting that Man United are leaning toward Sandro Tonali over Bruno Guimarães. And that tells you everything about the direction of this rebuild. Now, the truth about Bruno Guimarães, it was going to always be a difficult situation for Bruno Guimarães because he's the captain of Newcastle. And Sandro Tonali is not going to be any easier because he is Sandro Tonali. Just signed a new contract, might I add. But the key part about this is that what are you getting from both players? What are Manchester United getting from both players? And what is the priority of what they are going to get? What is the number one priority? What checks off all these boxes that Manchester United are looking for in a midfield anchor for Manchester United? Because between both of them, Man United are going to build their midfield around Kobe Mainoo and this next person that we are going to buy. Unfortunately, both of them play for Newcastle. So we are going to get somebody from Newcastle to be the anchor of Manchester United's midfield, whether it is for 5 years, 3 years, or 10 years. That is the goal. That is the difference. Because Sandro Tonali, 25 years, is showing signs of becoming the best that he's ever going to be. He's getting into his prime. While Bruno Guimarães, 29 years of age, just turned or is going to turn 29 this summer, is in the prime of his life right now. Now, Manchester United have all put the pressure on themselves, talking about 2028 in the 20 something whatever years of Man United being a club. They want to win the Premier League in 2028. If my math is correct, we are talking about in 2 years' time. That's when they want to win the league. They want to make sure and they have put a date on it. And that tells us it is right now. The priority is getting it done right away. You understand? That's the priority. But let's start with Sandro Tonali because I think breaking this down for everybody to understand would absolutely be the right move to go about this. Sandro Tonali, in my mind, depicts control. He is control personified. My bad, that's not the right word. He is control. That's the aura that he gives off. You understand? If I bring out the tactical board, you would understand that this is a player that knows how to control the midfield single-handedly. You understand? He doesn't dominate games loudly. He controls them quietly. We saw it against Newcastle under the only loss that Michael Carrick has had. Bear in mind at that game, Newcastle were playing with 10 players, 9 outfield players and 1 goalkeeper. And Sandro Tonali walked through our midfield like there was nobody at home. He literally walked through our midfield like it was a burglar and we were all sleeping. That is what he did. And that, to me, was one of the perfect auditions that he can give to the higher ups, that I am the right guy for that job. You understand? That is the perfect audition. And he did it so well because he was one of the people. And bear in mind, Bruno Guimarães wasn't playing that game. But you can also make the argument that if Bruno Guimarães was in that game, they probably whoop us way more than 2-0 or 2-1. They probably whoop us way more than 2-1. But the key situation is it gives us a glimpse of what Bruno, Tonali, and Kobe Mainoo could be. How dominant that midfield could be for Manchester United. And that right there, in my opinion, is like Christmas in the summertime. He's a system player. And also, he's somebody he can break the plans that you set to trap him single-handedly. And that is Sandro Tonali. Now let's move to Bruno Guimarães, because today is not a day where we go in depth about who Sandro Tonali is. We will keep that for another video. Today is giving you a broad look about why Manchester United are leaning whichever way, Sandro Tonali, rather than leaning towards Bruno Guimarães. Bruno Guimarães is chaos, but in a good way. Remember when I told you that chaos, when it's channeled right, is the truth about it is that you can't quantify what it does. Think about fire, for instance. If it's burning and you can't control it, you get wildfires. But if it's burning and you control it, you get a fire that everybody's sitting around, literally putting their s'mores and making their marshmallows and whatever. A good time, but it's still a fire. That's what Bruno Guimarães is. A player that always understands playing on the edge, dragging every single player that he has moving forward and refusing to lose. That is Bruno Guimarães, a leader, somebody that absolutely knows and understands what it means to play for a club like Manchester United. Now, has he played for a club like Manchester United? No. And Newcastle fans might tell you otherwise, but he really hasn't. But what we have seen, the person that he has been, if we are getting the Bruno Guimarães of Newcastle or the Bruno Guimarães that was leaving Lyon, we are getting another leader. And we can definitely do it more, especially now that Casemiro is going out the door. Now let's look at Bruno Guimarães a little bit more. Bruno Guimarães changes games, but he doesn't always control them. That's one thing. When it comes to you need somebody to drag the team forward, he's going to be there. Think about Roy Keane versus Juventus. Roy Keane is legendary in Italy because of that game. Because he has those moments. Because when Manchester United needed a captain, he gave them a captain performance. That's what Bruno Guimarães does to Newcastle. He gives them a captain performance. No matter what the situation is, Bruno Guimarães is there and he's ready. His energy is always high. He is also a risk. But one thing you can never say is that in a whole game, you can never say, oh my God, I did not see Bruno Guimarães. You can't say that because he is front and center. When everything is happening for Newcastle, he is there doing something, whether it's an assist or a goal or a pre-assist. He is always involved when it comes to Newcastle. So you have to then look at what does Manchester United actually need. You understand? What do they actually need? United don't lack energy. United don't lack energy because we have that in Bruno Fernandes. He is an energizer bunny. We have that in Mateus Cunha, an energizer bunny. We have that in Bruno Buemo, an energizer bunny. What we need is control. We lack control. We do not control games. This is why Tonali makes sense for Manchester United. That is exactly why he makes sense for Manchester United. You understand? Because when we looked at the games against Newcastle, and I'm saying it because that was one of the games that hurt me the most. When we look at the games against Everton, 10 men, when we are playing versus 10 men, where we are meant to control the ball, where we are meant to literally keep the ball ticking and absolutely punish them for having one man down. We start spamming it, giving them an opportunity on a transition, and we get punished because our transition defense is not set. Our transition defense is also a problem that we will talk about in another video. Bring Sandro Tonali and drop him in this midfield. All of a sudden, that goes away because Sandro Tonali is now going to be the person that keeps it taken, keeps it giving, and also controls the midfield because we already have that risky player in Bruno Fernandes that he gets the ball and he finds the creative pass. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But Sandro Tonali will become the Michael Carrick that we have never replaced. He will become the Michael Carrick, and if he is being coached by Michael Carrick, he can only get better because Michael Carrick in his heyday was a world-class midfielder. He was a world class midfielder. And so he would absolutely be the perfect man to tell Sandro Tonali, this is the way we do it. This is the way I want you to do it. And this is the way you can get better at doing what you already know how to do. And that's the beauty of it. That right there is the beauty of it. So the bigger message in this situation, just so we can absolutely tie this in a bow, this isn't about Sandro Tonali versus Bruno Guimarães. Who is better? No, that's not what it's about. It's about what Manchester United want to become. You understand? It's about what Manchester United are trying to achieve in 2028, where we want to be challenging for the title and we want to be back at the pinnacle of English football. That is what we want. And that is why Manchester United are leaning Tonali. But I'm going to leave you with three things that Manchester United want to become. That I've basically looked at the players they are buying, the players that are linked to us, and the things that we need from the club. There are three things that we need to achieve within this summer, the next January, and the next summer before the 2028 league. Three things. We need to be better possession-based team. We need to have structure on and off the ball, and we need to have an elite level control. But the key thing about this situation is that when we have those three things, you absolutely want to be here when I said, look, we have won the league game. So make sure you guys are absolutely locked in with us here at Pillar Sports. If you're building Manchester United from scratch, who are you choosing? Are you choosing Sandro Tonali or are you choosing Bruno Guimarães? Let me know down in the comment. You understand? Because I want to absolutely see what you guys think down in the comments. It makes a whole difference because I want to see whether I'm being blinded by my love for Sandro Tonali or I'm not seeing the right things in Bruno Guimaraes. Let me know down in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next one.